Welcome back to the Barbecue Lab. My name is David Gafford, and today we're going to take a deep dive look into the Thermoworks Thermapen MK4, and we've got it all coming up. I can't think of a tool that we use more both in the indoor and outdoor kitchen than an instant read thermometer. It's so important to understand the temperature of your food when you're cooking, and having a device that we can rely on to give us fast and accurate results makes everything that we cook better. Today we're going to do an in-depth review of the Thermoworks Thermapen MK4, and it's become something that we use in everything we do here at the Barbecue Lab. Now let's start with how accurate this thermometer is. With any instant read, if it's not accurate, it really doesn't matter how quickly we get the temperature, right? The Thermapen is accurate to within 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.4 degrees Celsius. That means we're talking about an accuracy within 1 degree for whatever temperature that you're measuring. So that means it's crazy accurate. So what else really matters when considering an instant read thermometer? Well, calibration is built in case it ever loses accuracy over years of use. Now, when it comes to measuring temperature, it's useful to note that the sensor is in the end cone portion of the probe. So when you're measuring temperature, you're talking about the temperature is being measured within this last little bit of the end of the probe, not all the way through here on the probe, just this last bit of the section here. Now, so this way, you know that you're getting just the tip of the cone, and what you're reading, you can check a very precise location and know that you're measuring exactly what you're after. It just takes the guesswork out of things. With a 4-inch long probe, the Thermapen MK4 can get to the center of just about any cut of meat that we can imagine without any difficulty. The probe is also a bit more narrow than most of the wireless probe thermometers that we use in barbecue settings. At about half the overall width, the Thermapen probe isn't going to leave a gaping hole in the meat where juices will find their way to the surface. We know so many people who use the Thermapen MK4 in steak cook-off contests because they can get precise temperatures without leaving probe holes in their competition steak. Now, speed is another factor that we want to consider with any instant read thermometer. The manual and the Thermoworks website say that the Thermapen will read within 2 to 3 seconds, and we find it to be sub 2 seconds in our testing. The probe is continuously reading temperature, so you're never locking into a temperature whenever you're using the MK4. Since we're cooking over hot grills most of the time, speed is a key factor for us. Now, there's no way that we could hold an instant read thermometer over a 700-degree grill for any period of time while checking the internal temperature of a steak that we're searing. The ability to read at around 2 seconds is critical for us, or we'd have to pull everything off the grill to check the internal temp, and no one wants to mess up those perfect grill marks, right? The Thermapen is always measuring temperature, so the first number you'll most likely see when you open the probe is the temperature of the room that you're in. With such quick readings, you'll see an air temp number before you even get it into the food you're wanting to measure. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that the readout here that's reading the air temperature is rapidly dropping because we didn't think you want to hear our heater in the background trying to keep this room warm. Well, it's one thing to say it's accurate, but it's another thing to prove it's accurate. So we're out here in the outdoor kitchen. I have a pot of boiling water and I have a pot of ice water here. So what I want to do is I want to show you how this thing works. So we're going to take this and we're going to stick it in. We should see right around 212 in just a couple seconds. Ooh, that's hot. Look at that steam. Woo! And the same thing with this ice bath here. We should see 32 degrees in just a couple seconds. And it does, 32 degrees. So the idea is we can transition back and forth. And it's fast and it's accurate. So boil test, freezing water test, I'm telling you, it works. Now the Thermapen can easily go between Fahrenheit and Celsius easily. So when your friends who use that other measuring system come over, you're completely covered. Now the decimals can also be turned on and off. So if you want to see the decimals, You can turn them on. If you don't want them, you can turn them off. But I mean, I guess the point comes down to, do I really care if my steak is, 125.2, or do I really care if it's 125.9? I don't know that I really care. So I think that I have gone between whether I want the decimals on or off, and I think I've kind of settled that I like them off most of the time. So let's talk about the ease of use. When it comes to turning the Thermapen on, you just open the probe and it turns on automatically. It has an auto on and off built in, so there's no hunting for power buttons out in the dark when you want to see how done your steak is. Now, the automatic shutoff feature kicks in whenever you close the probe against the body of the unit, or whenever you set the Thermapen down and it remains inactive for 30 seconds. Now, to wake it up, just pick the unit up and it snaps back to life. Unlike some of its competitors, the probe folds up against the body for storage to protect the probe and take up less space. Other thermometers might have a probe cover that will likely get lost or a pouch to store it in, but with the Thermapen, it's built to protect itself when not in use. We keep ours in the silverware drawer in the kitchen, so it's getting thrown around and whacked against the side of the drawer each time the kids need a utensil. It stood up to the abuse and functions just like the day we picked it up 6 months ago. Now, unlike many of the other instant read thermometers on the market, the Thermapen Mark IV has a bunch of color options. There are actually a total of 10 colors that you can get the Thermapen in, so there's almost guaranteed to be one that matches your color scheme. Now, we went with the blue because it ties in well with our logo and brand colors, but we're just marketing nerds, so there's probably other reasons to choose a color, but that's what drew us in. There's a 2-year warranty on the Thermapen Mark IV, so I personally don't worry about something happening to it. Mine's been knocked off the counter and thrown into a drawer multiple times. It's really no worse for the wear. The price of the Thermapen Mark IV at the time of this filming is $99. Now, while it's not the cheapest thermometer we've tested, it is by far the best. We find it to be well worth the money because we use it every time we fire up a grill or smoker, and quite a bit in the indoor kitchen as well. I use it more than my spatula or my tongs or any grill that we have here at the lab. It's one of the top 3 tools we have in any cooking environment. Now, I want to start with a few features that I really love about this. No matter which way you hold the thermometer, you're able to read the temperature right side up. Now, this is a feature that we love, but if it's not your cup of tea, it's programmable. You can turn off the 4-way rotation if that's a feature you don't want. You can actually turn it to 2 ways or lock it into a single direction, all using the buttons internally. Another feature that we want to make sure that we cover is the backlight. The display will glow orange whenever the unit senses that it's dark using the built-in light sensor found on the handle. We don't have to worry about finding a button or clicking through display screens to turn on the light. It's automatic and it's easy. If I need light to read the display, it will be on. And if I don't, it's turned off. It's a great feature that I don't even think about most of the time because I've gotten just so used to it always being exactly what I need. Now, one of the things that we see on quite a few competitors to the Mark IV are additional features not included on the Thermapen. The thing is, I find the exclusion of these features to be a reason to like the Thermapen even more. Having a setting to remember high temperature and low temperature is something we've just never used before, and I can't really see having a use for in the future. The Thermapen is waterproof for 30 minutes in up to 3 feet of water. Specifically, it's waterproof to IP67 rating. I know we've left ours out on the grill overnight when it's rained, and it was still working like the day we got it. It's just a survivor. Another thing that we really like is that the Mark IV is just comfortable in the hand. It's not a small thermometer, and for us that's a good thing. There's plenty of room to hold on to the handle and still see the digital readout while feeling confident that we're not going to drop it. Many competitors' thermometers are so small that they don't feel good in the hand, and we think this is a great size for a handheld unit. The switchblade style of the Thermapen allows us to sneak into tight spaces to get the internal temperature of meat without having to disrupt how we have things laid out. In Kamado-style cookers, we often use the upper rack, which only allows for 4 or 5 inches of clearance between grates. That means that we don't always have the room to stick a thermometer in when it's all the way open. Now, there's enough rigidity in the probe as well when it's swinging open that we can use it at any angle that our cooking setup calls for. Now, we also like to look at opportunities for improvement. And really the only thing that I'd like to see improved on this thermometer is the size of the readout when it's being held in vertical orientation. It's a bit smaller than what you see when you're holding it horizontally. I like the size of the horizontal more than the size of the vertical. It was a stretch to find anything that I'd like to see improved, and that's the only thing I came across that I think I'd like to see improved in the next version. So the question is, what do we overall think about the Thermapen Mark IV? Well, the Thermapen Mark IV gets our highest rating for an instant read thermometer. At the time we're shooting this video, there simply isn't another instant read thermometer available that can give it a run for its money. Now, if you'd like to check out the current price or see if there's a sale running on the Mark IV, click the link in the description below. We'll link to where you can find all of the accessories and more that can help you be absolutely certain that you're nailing your cooks, whether indoors or out at the grill. And when you purchase using our link, it doesn't cost you any more. It just helps support the channel to keep videos like these coming out 1 to 2 times a week. Now, if this is your first time here at the Barbecue Lab, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We put out 1 to 2 videos each week reviewing the best in outdoor cooking and outdoor living. We want to help save you money by knowing what the best gear is to bring your dreams to life. Now, if you're on Instagram, you can find us at Barbecue Labs, and we feature behind the scenes content as well as any coupons or sales that we're aware of on the best gear in outdoor cooking. I'm David from the Barbecue Lab, and I look forward to seeing you next time as we review the best in outdoor living and cooking.